Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I will call this meeting to order. Kevin, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Mrs. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here.
Mrs. Fogel?
Here.
Mr. Hanna?
Council does have a quorum, and if you would please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good evening, everyone. This is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. Additions to our agenda this evening from council.
I'll move that we excuse Councilman Hanna from tonight's meeting for personal reasons.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
That motion does pass. I have one quick item of communication that I would like to have placed on the agenda. And if there are no other additions, we'll go into approval of the minutes from Tuesday, September 28th, 2021.
I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as presented. And also, council, everybody should have a corrected copy of the September 14th, 2021 meeting minutes that we talked about at the last meeting. Let's go into finances. Starting out with the cash summary by fund. General fund is in good shape, $225,000. We have a little over $60,000 in our street fund. The police levy, $270,580. The water fund is slowly recovering. We've got $81,603 there, and of course $200,000 in that contingency fund. And the American Rescue Plan, $124,966. So those are looking pretty good. And let's go into the revenue status. And again, we are about 7% over what we anticipated collecting in the general fund. I did notice one thing. It looks like the cable franchise fees are doing better than expected. And also the court costs and fines, those will continue to increase through the months of October, November, and December. If you go to that back page, under the street construction, maintenance, and repair, we have collected 86% of our revenues. And again, this is through the end of September, so we're 75% through the year. So this is a good thing. And I did notice, Kevin, that Laura has corrected that for the Ohio Public Works Commission project, that Bob White project, that $139,100 in there.
Yes.
So I appreciate you guys getting that taken care of. Going down to police levy, we're still 100% there. We don't really anticipate any other revenues there unless it would be some type of miscellaneous, Mike, if you sold any equipment or anything like that. So we're pretty well done there. And on the back side, for the water operating, we've collected through the end of September 81% of our total anticipated revenues. So we are in pretty good shape there. Total for all funds, we're almost at 90%. So good shape. If you look at the appropriations status report, For the general fund, and I'm looking on page 2, the total of that fund year-to-date expenditures, we are about 72%. If you go down to the street construction, maintenance, and repair fund, 81% expenditures. The police levy, we are about 75%. And that last page, 5 out of 6, for the water fund, we are about 85%. And total of all funds, about 81%. If you look, staying on that water real quick, if you look, going back to page number 5, where we've got about halfway down under those appropriations, we've got supplies and materials, capital outlay. Above that a little bit, you'll see contractual services. Those particular line items, we are at the maximum or real close to it. And when we saw that we were getting close to our expenditures for this year's appropriations, we sat down and looked to see kind of what was going on. And Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you. This is nothing bad. It had to do with the water tower and the way that first payment came in. But Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you for a little explanation there, because we are going to have to increase those to get us through the rest of the year. But I'll let you make the explanation on
Yeah,
that.
thank you, Mayor. The Laura did reach out with an email saying that we were kind of getting low in those in that fund actually. So we had a meeting, the mayor and myself and Jason, and actually Jason and I first. We went over some of the financials just to thinking, what have we spent, out of the ordinary. We couldn't find anything. I know we had some emergencies here and there, but it wasn't no real big ticket items to put us where we are, so we went through everything and basically come to the conclusion that we did make a payment on the water tower, on the Cardinal Tower tank that was supposed to be last year. We made it a PO. We took out a PO last year, 2020, because we said that we were going to pay some of it in 2020 and the rest in 2021. But it come to find out that, the work that they didn't bill us till after the first of the year. So that PO was closed out. So it kind of put up a light bulb there. That's the big payment that we were missing that, that we put out in 2021 that wasn't appropriated really. So, so that's the reason. And we got looking, and Laura said we still have 80,000 that is not appropriated. But we went through. Jason and I went through kind of the rest of the year on some of our expenses, what we're gonna need, and kind of tallied them up. We can get by with the rest of the year in the water fund by raising the appropriation $60,000. So that's where we're
The
at
bottom
right
line is we didn't break up the payments in 2 years because it didn't work out that way.
Right.
So
now. Didn't work out like we thought it was going to.
But we
like
had it
talked-
encumbered, right? It was
Yes.
encumbered, right?
Yeah.
So when we closed the PO out, we should have raised the appropriations, and nobody did anything wrong. However, let me bring that up while we're talking about it. Maybe in the future, this is something for us all to think about. If we have a situation like that again with a big project, maybe, Kevin, we ought to ask the council for permission to have, bless you, have that PO remain open. That way, we are using the previous year's money.
Sure.
And I know it's great to close those things out and get everything nice and zeroed out, but maybe in a situation like that, when it's something big,
Because it didn't have to be
Right.
closed out.
Yeah.
are we in agreement? Maybe that's what we ought to do the next time. We'll just, if the council's okay with it, that way we don't run into this situation again. So are you guys okay with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, this one was kind of a one-off situation where, if we have $1,000 POs or $100 POs, I can see closing those
Oh,
out.
yeah.
But
Sure.
125,000, I feel like we should probably just leave it there. That way, we're not having to mess with the appropriations that we've already set up for the following year.
Right.
So
The money's encumbered anyway, so.
Right.
So, like I said, we're in a situation where that appropriation for the water fund will have to be raised, $60,000 just to get us through the end of the year then, so.
And we don't need the full 80, just
No.
the 60, what you guys came
Right.
up with.
Yeah.
And you put a little leeway in there as far as,
Just a little cushion,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
we're at the end of the year, most of the projects are completed anyways, so,
So do we need a motion
If-
to
yes, please.
increase the appropriation by 60,000? And that's gonna go to water other, correct?
Yes.
So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
And that motion does pass, and I appreciate that. We will pass that along to Laura, and in the future, we will go by those guidelines. So we will need also a motion to approve the reconciliation for the month of September.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Kevin, if I could ask, on the street construction, we're a little higher than the 75%. We still have a couple projects that you're working on. Is there going to be sufficient funds in that?
I'll have to take a look and see. I mean, I think we might have to raise that a little bit too. I know we've
I mean,
got.
that's what I would think, but
Yeah, I think, but let me take a look, basically like we did with the water fund and see, kind of project what we're gonna need before I kind of make a final answer there, so.
okay.
Any other questions? You're going to be close in that capital outlay with that paving project, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, you're going to be very close. Okay, we'll move into communications, and I just have one item that I'd like to relay to council, and I guess kind of ask for thoughts and prayers for our former chief, Lou Wilcox, and his wife, Sandy. Lou is recuperating from a recent surgery, and he's doing well. It was very unexpected, but again, let's if you could reach out to him. I know he would appreciate hearing from his friends at the village. He considered us part of his family. He came to Enon and just, he fell in love with the community and loved working here. And Mike, as well as I do, we think highly of him, and he's doing well, and we just wish him a speedy recovery. Anything, Dad? Okay.
What you said.
All right. Let's go into staff reports. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mayor, council, residents. In your packet is the September Mayor Court Report. We can go over that. This month, let's see here, we had 8 traffic and 1 OVI. Let's see, total funds received for the month was $2,315. Year-to-date, $23,254. Funds dispersed to the state, $457.50 this month. Year-to-date, $3,284.50. Total remitted to the village this month, $1,832.50. Year-to-date, $19,851.50. Brings the total dispersed to $2,315 for the month, $23,254 year-to-date.
So you need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
All right. Demo quotes for the house there on Dayton Springfield Road that was purchased. I did get 2 asbestos abatement quotes. One came in at $4,950. The other one came in at $3,838. I did get 3 demo quotes. I asked for 5, I guess, but I did not hear from 2. On target demolition came in at 13,500. Above grade excavating 31,000, and PG excavating $13,450. So
two were 13 and
yeah.
one was 38?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Somebody doesn't need the
I
work.
didn't think he didn't want it after he looked at it immediately. So, I will be calling references on all of them, and then I guess we can make a decision on what do we want to do on that. So, but that is the demo is tearing the house down, hauling it all away, digging the footers out, hauling that away. We're gonna get dirt from the school, and they're gonna level the dirt out for us and grass seed. So, like I said, I will be calling references and getting back to you on that as well.
Let
So-
me ask a quick question. Would the council be okay with our administrator choosing either one of those 13,000 once he checks the references to go ahead and get this project started? Or would you rather he come back with the exact figure?
I'm fine with either of those. I think we for sure need to do our references like we did. I know what project was that?
Bob White?
Yeah. So, yeah, as long as we're going to do that. Yeah, I'm okay with either of those. I guess if any red flags come up, shoot an email to us.
Sure, I can do that. All right, appreciate that. Building updates here on the government center. The painting's going great for one gentleman doing most of the work. There's been only about maybe 2-3 days that he's had his helper here with him, but he is on the trim right now. The front of the building is done with everything. The trim has second coat on it as well. He's working on the gutters and downspouts now, as well as the metal flashing up on the roof. And then he will be finishing up next week with the doors and windows. So
How many coats did we end up with on that one side? Was it like 2 or 3 maybe?
he putting 2 coats on everything.
2 coats on
Yeah.
everything, okay.
Yeah. So we did have an incident out here on this end of the building. He put an extra coat on because the ceiling crew came in and took their blower and blew some mulch all over the side of the wet paint. So so we had to, and the paving or the ceiling company, I talked to the owner, and they're going to take care of. It was all time and material to repaint that in, so they're going to take care of it. So
I heard the painter wasn't very happy.
he wasn't
I
happy at all.
imagine not.
He was, and I got the phone call, and I came in, and I wasn't too happy
Hold
either.
the phone out here.
So, but it all worked out, and
Didn't need a phone call. I get it.
so yeah. He said there's a lot of paint on this building since it's never been painted. So it's so. But it's gone good. I think it looks tremendous. We got we took down all the letters and the numbers and the emblems and stuff so they could paint, and we repainted the letters and numbers, got them all hooked back up. I did get a price on a new sign that would withstand the weather more than the other one that we had up that the high school made because it was turning yellow already. So I will be kind of looking at that email again and seeing that was from Yipe Stripes where we get our decals from and stuff. He shot me a price on it's not really plexiglass, but it's something that's going to hold up.
Durable.
Yep, with
Sure.
a decal on it, and it's going to be nice. And then a badge decal for above their door, just to kind of make it look a lot nicer. So
He really is doing a nice job. The building looks brand new.
yeah,
So.
yep. So. Salary survey. We did talk to the Ohio plan here a while back, and I just wanted to bring that back up. Just to let you know that I think we relayed the prices to everybody, but to do the salary survey, if they do it all, the Ohio plan, it was $3,500, where we just give them the information and they develop it and give us a draft and to approve and then the employee manual, basically the same thing. We give them our manual. They bring it all up to code. where they give us a draft, we approve it, not make changes, but they're doing all the work, and that was $5,500. So we did touch bases with Lexipool, and they got a good program, and I think Mike can explain it a little bit better than I can. But it was at first she said it was like 14,000, and we said no, we don't want to buy the whole your office, But so they came down. They didn't come down. We just told them that we needed just a employee manual. We already got a manual. We just needed updated things like that, and it was $1,300 a year. There was a yearly fee but we go in and change it ourselves. Is that correct? It's a sort of like a template, and you type.
Yeah, you fill out a questionnaire that, just like we did, insert the names, and then automatically
populates
it, and then whatever you wanted to change, you can go in and change it. And then the $1,300 gives you the yearly access fee, gives you the digital signature, and then the option for any updates or anything that they would push out to you. Pretty much kind of like same thing as the other. It's just they work with you over the phone, kind of walk through it, and then.
And I don't know how many.
A lot cheaper than ours.
I don't know how many
we have
updates. I mean, they would have more
177
updates than we do, being police officers and stuff. I don't think we would have that many updates.
Alexis only does the employee handbook and not the salary side.
They don't do salary.
They don't do salaries,
Right.
yeah.
And it was 9,000 total for the other one, but what was the breakout again for the salary side versus?
3,500 for the salary schedule, and the 5,500 for the employment.
Okay, so
I think that's very reasonable in my opinion, and I think definitely that salary, we need to get that one completed. I would also like to see that personnel, those manuals looked at and merged together. I think that's very reasonable, 5,500. So I don't know what your recommendation is going to be, but I think it's both of those prices are very fair for them doing all the work.
They're doing all the work, and we'd have a finished product. Here it is, and there's some features that Lexipool has, but I got to thinking about it after we talked this afternoon. Would the admin side use those features? I know the police side would, because they got more issues, and their manual's a lot bigger, naturally. So. My thoughts is to go with the Ohio plan, have them do it, and be done with it, because it's going to take us time to, do that as well. So,
but if the police side has more changes, who makes those changes under the Ohio plan versus the LexisNexis plan?
Oh, you mean Lexipool? Well, unfortunately, I will have to go in and delete the part that we had to have because the village didn't have it, which is not that big of a deal, but it would obviously take me time. But there was just mandates in there and stuff that we needed as a policy that the village didn't have. So because they push it all out, we were, said you got to have this in there. If you don't have it there, you should have it here. So I'll just get to delete and move out what you guys have. And I mean,
out of your police manual.
Yeah, out of our policy manual, so we're not doubling up. For example, we'll use sexual harassment policy for an example. I won't need that anymore because the village will have it, which they had it anyway. Ours just had some federal stuff in there that the village one didn't have, so I just have to delete it. It'll just reduce our policy down, but I just go in there and delete it.
But the Ohio plan does or does not do yours as well? Is it
No,
just does the village side or the administration side, but not the police side?
Right. Yeah, we already have one. We contract with Lexipool already, but the Ohio plan will write a broad one. Ours is just. I don't know how many pages was it, like 17 or 27 pages of village manual currently
like
is.
that, yeah.
Ours is we started with 170 chapters.
Yeah, so.
Not that many chapters.
The Ohio
but,
plan
there's a
employee
lot.
manual we're talking, though, is going to cover the administrative side and the police side, correct?
In the employee manual, yes.
Yes.
And then they'll have their police above and
Sure,
beyond
sure.
the employee manual.
Through Lexipol.
Yes, through Lexipool.
Yeah, it will be the basic. And then ours, obviously, the use of force and stuff that you don't need at the village, and that's where ours will stay. But like the other stuff, family medical leave and all that, you guys will have. We can just wipe it out of ours. That way, we're not overlapping. Piece of cake.
But so I think Jeremy's question was, it covers both, and it really doesn't cover all of yours. It just covers a portion of yours.
I will have to upload the Ohio Plan Manual into the Lexipol Manual, which I needed to do at the village manual anyway, or we had to hand out a paper copy because ours are all acknowledged online and everything's tracked on there to make sure, like I've shown him, like I've got 100% policy compliance with the, reading it and updating
Sure.
all that. And it just keeps a digital track of all that. So I don't have to, but yes, I will have to push that policy together because we all have to be under that policy, which we were before. We just have a paper copy.
Right.
It's just easier for me to hand out the little manual rather than scan it in the PDF and make it available online.
You don't see a problem if we went this way, do you, Mike, other than what you just, you
No,
have-
no, I don't.
Okay.
The Lexipol, there's only 50 chapters that they push out for the government side because, again, you don't have that much. So short of like some of the small stuff that's currently in our policy, which really just copy and paste and upload into a section, there's no difference. It's just, I just have to take that one copied into mine.
Okay.
Either way, I got to do that, I suppose, sort of.
It makes sense to me so I'm on it's the Public Service Committee, myself and Brenda and Ben, we've kind of been spinning our wheels, and you guys have been at the meetings. $3,500 seems like a good deal, especially for the salaries. At least we would have something. They're going to give us a draft. We can agree with it, disagree with it, send back recommended changes, and they'll make those changes. At least it gives us a jumping off point to where I don't think we're at the point I don't think we're close to getting there.
I agree.
Yeah, if everybody was users, realistically, we could just go in and change the word Enon Police Department to Village of Enon to the current policy we already have, because that's literally what you're going to get from there. But because we're only contracted and it's the PD, we can't do that. So that's why it's the $1,300. Because trust me, I asked them, like, well, we're already Lexipol, and the policies are there. The policies they were going to give us, like, we already have them, but they just reference, like, see the chief, see this. So here it will say village administrator, mayor, and stuff like that. So I wish we could do that, but that would be a lot of copy and pasting and transferring to a Word document.
Is there a copyright involved in that too?
No, we own it. I can
You
save
own
a
it?
hard copy PDF right now and cancel our subscription, and we have whatever the policy reads that's our policy, and that's it. We bought it, but we can't double dip.
Right.
So
Is the council okay with these prices, and they would be split between the different funds of the village because it affects all of our employees?
I am.
I have no problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, you got to go ahead.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah. I think that's all I had for now, Mayor.
Questions for our administrator,
I have
Mrs.
a-
Sweet?
I have a question. Do we have enough salt for the winter?
Yes, we just got our first 25-ton,
Oh, good.
But we had some in there, but I thought, well, we'll just get our first load.
So we probably have 50 tons in there now.
Oh, at least. Yeah,
Okay.
we've got, 50, 75 ton in there, yeah. So,
Good.
We talked about the demo, the abatement. You were going to run. Were you running references on those?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And I'm assuming, well, if everyone else is okay with moving forward with the 3,800, if that one checks out,
Yep,
you guys,
that's what I was gonna
okay.
go with the lowest on each
Right.
one of them, and
Right.
so, okay.
Any other questions? Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
thank you, Mayor. Evening.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Thank you, council,
Yeah, welcome
residents.
back.
Yes, yeah, that was good training. Good training. Well, I'll go ahead and talk about that first. I was down at the National Computer Forensic Institute for some digital forensic training, and thankfully, some of the things that the agency is involved with, we got some good education, some good curriculum, and and equipment. So I'm excited about that, and I don't know. I got 2 more to go, and then I say I'm an expert now, but we'll see. And then,
Congratulations again, by the way.
thank you.
I did acknowledge your certificates at the last meeting.
Yeah, I did have some fun, but it was wow, it was a lot of work. So, and I passed my test. So, our National Drug Take Back Day is going to be October 23rd. That's something that they're now starting to do. It looks like 2 times a year roughly, and that's helpful because that keeps us low down. For those that aren't familiar with that, that's sponsored by the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA. That drug drop box that we have out front that the prosecutor's office put back there years ago, we keep that rolling, and then the DEA provides the boxes and stuff that we package that up, and they dispose of it, so there's no cost to the village, and it helps take obviously opioids and all kind of prescription drugs off the streets, gives places for people to drop it off. It is available Monday through Friday during normal business hours right up front. However, there is a day that we have that we participate in. That will be October 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Residents or anybody for that matter that has prescription drugs, there's a website that you can go to. It shows us as a drop spot, but you can walk into the front office there. There we'll have the door open. That's a Saturday, and you can drop your prescription drugs off in there. No liquids or sharps, please, which says on the front of the box. And that is because they do not want to take those, nor will they, and we don't want them either, because we don't take them. Yeah, I think that's a great program, and it's good for the community, so that's going to be the date. And because we participate in that, that allows us to, they dispose of it for us for nothing. Updates, I've got updates on the Marks system. So our Marks radio system, as you guys know, some of you might know, years ago, we had some issues with our Marks radio coverage when we first moved over to the Marks system. I like to think I was a big part into making that go away. And I've taken that knowledge that I learned from back then and helped here. We have always been a low spot. I spoke with Major Chris Clark from the Clark County Sheriff's Office, who's in charge of their communications center. And we know that there's, because we're in a lower area, South Charleston to Enon area, our coverage is not as high as some other places. Because of that, there are some spotty coverage issues in our new build out there at the school. And if anybody has heard that, I want you to know that I am very well aware of it. And I've talked with him. He's advised me that he's going to talk to the commissioners to ask them for some funds to build a tower somewhere between here and there to help raise our reception. It is absolutely needed. It's not something that we can get away with not doing. So hopefully the funds are put up and Major Clark gets that rolling quickly, because it is needed.
That was the same problem we had the first go around when it went into effect. We had trouble with reception in the schools.
We did.
Yes.
This is significantly worse.
It was significant. This is worse?
This is worse.
Okay.
I've been at basketball practice there, and with Verizon, I can't get any service inside the school.
Yeah, there's the cell services. Let's put it this way. It's bad, and it has to change. And we from the law enforcement end are trying to remedy it. That school was built very well. The walls are very thick, and because of the low coverage already, it is what it is. But there's not anything you can do in the school building to boost it, because the signal has to be able to search for something anyway. Like I said, I won't go too in depth about it, but it's definitely an issue, a safety issue and it's being addressed from at least the law enforcement side as quick as and the best that we can. But anybody want to talk about it, come down and see me or give me a call. I won't pull any punches for you. I'll let you know how it is. That being said, the cruiser, I've asked for an update. I've just found out that I now have a new sales rep. Turns out the last one is no longer there either. I don't know if that's just me or if it's just the auto industry, but I'd like to say it's the auto industry. However, there is still no production date and no build date for our cruiser that we ordered in January of this year. And I tried to order in November of last year, but our salesperson had left and didn't bother to tell me.
You can only do so much.
Yeah, the chip shortage from COVID is definitely impacting us. At this rate, we're going to have to get another car. And I say that loosely, but I hope I'm kidding. We were doing really good with getting the fleet back up to the rotation, and this has really set us back. I don't know what to do, nor does anybody else. So I'm doing my best, but all I can do is ask. And unless you guys want to take a vacation to Ford, and maybe we can help try to make some. But training, I have Officer Dunham, Miranda Dunham. She'll be going to the FTO training school here first week in November. As everybody knows, the full-time officers, after they get their time in, I like to get them that field training officer training so they can help with our new hires and everybody else, plus just helps them out. So she'll be going to that. I'm excited for that. She's got a couple years in here and she's ready, and if she's not, she's going anyway, but she is.
She did a nice job with the schools while you were gone, Mike, and communicating with Kevin and the superintendent and the concerns that we had. So she did a good job for us.
Yeah, thank you for that. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I know I wasn't here last meetings, not feeling too well. A lot of people had told me that they hadn't heard anything out of the police department, everything going smooth. That's exactly how it should be. That's what we worked for. So I'd like to thank all my officers for doing what they do and handling everything like they do, and they did a great job. And no bad news is good news, right? So
They did do a good job.
I
Yes.
wasn't skeptical. I was confident in them, but I understand when I leave that long that it definitely makes you a little cautious. But I had faith, and my faith they did good. They did great.
But they knew you were only a phone call away. So
Yes, we were.
that's-
Thank you,
That's always
communication-wise.
reassuring. So
Yeah, yeah. So they did good, and we also had a good apple butter. We had homecoming. We were able to provide officers out there for the coverage of the dance. That went well. I believe the parade went well. I don't want to brag too much because I don't want anything to go bad. But yeah, everything's going good. And then the demo. I'd like to know when maybe you guys plan on tearing that house down, because I would like to, if it's okay, not tear it down, but I'd like to maybe do some training in there, and could cause some damage, but if you're going to level it, I don't think it really matters. And I know the fire department had asked about using it, not set it on fire or anything, but using it as possible training. But more importantly, I'd like to get a hold of some SRT teams, some friends of mine, and have them work with some of our officers if possible, and also just provide that for law enforcement in general. If that's okay with you folks, I
think it's a
would like
great
to do
idea.
that. And I wasn't sure when it's going to be torn down. So.
There's not a date yet, but I can let you know, yes.
Okay. I know if we would happen to break any doors, we can just secure them with some boards up. But I think that's a good thing. I know law enforcement like that. I'm sure fire and EMS like it. But law enforcement, we don't have a whole lot of places we can really do our job in, and that would be one. So if
I'll let
that's
you know.
okay, it'd be great. Lastly, I do have Officer Tom Tyree here. We've got a thing we're going to put up front, but I'm going to let him explain it because it's his, and I'll turn it over to him real quick and let him explain it to you. Sir?
Yes, as the chief said, I'm Officer Tyree with Enon Police Department.
Good evening.
I haven't met, I met a couple of y'all. I haven't met all of y'all. I'm a part-time officer. I'm a retired officer from San Antonio Police Department. In my regular job during the week, I work on the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Monday through Friday, I'm Dr. Tom Tyree. So on base, I'm the Suicide Prevention Program Manager, and I'm also the Violence Prevention Integrator for 30,000 employees. Now, one of the things that I do is I'm also the Dayton VA Outreach Veteran Community Coordinator, another little title. And that's where I bring this today, which are those locks. I'm kind of always looking for some program or initiative to reach out to our employees who are many, many veterans, okay, or relatives of veterans. I see the opportunity when I was thinking about y'all's drug box. One of the mechanisms that our people, our families, use to die from suicide is drugs that are left over in the houses, right? So y'all have a very active program. I've been an officer and been here when people have brought drugs and put them in the box. And I see the opportunity to use a little bit of synergy with the box and establish a distribution basket. And you can see the picture because I kind of brought everything. I said, this is what it would look like to get y'all to vision, get the vision of it. If I placed a basket there with a nice VA signage so that when people came, and the people that bring medicine to that box have the right frame of mind, the safety, right? So they may be a veteran themselves. They may be a relative of a veteran. They may know a veteran. I don't care who picks up the lock. I just want someone to pick up the lock.
Right.
Okay. So I have 2,000 locks. My plan is to hit every small town, and for me, San Antonio's a big town. These are all small towns.
I lived in San Antonio when I was in the military, and it is a big town.
And Enon being in, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Enon was the home of where the honor flight.
Honor
was
flight,
started.
we are.
Exactly.
So I wanted y'all to be the first, right? So my plan is to put it here, then go to Fairborn, then go to Beaver Creek, and go where I live. I live over in Hoover Heights, and establish them where these drop boxes are, where the drugs are dropped off. I'll keep it up because I already have a drop box or a pickup distribution at the Home and Garden store at the BX. I move about 50 a week, 50 a month. But our people live in the community. They don't live on base. And they die from suicide, not on base. They die in the community.
Yeah.
So we need to get these to the community. So I kind of staged the picture, and this is what it would look like. I've got the baskets, I've got the locks. There's really nothing that anyone needs to do except maybe see that this is a good idea and that you would give me permission to set them out there. Since I work here every weekend and I carry the locks in my trunk, I'll make sure that the basket is full and replenished.
Great
So that's
idea.
my proposal.
Excellent idea.
I think it's great.
And Officer Tyree, he's going to have that sign shrunken down just a little bit so it doesn't hang over on the window. It's just a little bit smaller, but it'll still say the same thing. And
Does that sound good?
one of the reasons why I brought
Sounds
this man
great.
aboard.
Sounds good.
Would council
Appreciate it.
be in favor of maybe we can put something on Facebook or on the website?
Yes, please advertise it
Oh,
for the community,
absolutely.
for Enon. I'll
definitely.
probably take pictures of it. It'll probably be in the base paper to let folks know that it's here in Enon, if they live in Enon or have a relative in Enon. And as we get it in each one of these smaller cities, municipalities, villages is different for me, villages, then it'll be in the base paper too, because this is where our folks live.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He said it better than I could have. But I thought it was a great idea. I said, yes, let's do it. And you can tell council tonight. How about that? Yeah, I'm glad to have him on board. I actually had 2 people from San Antonio in my training, and man, what a just a great group of people. And you're right, that place is ginormous. So thank you. And that's the police report for the night.
Questions for our chief? Okay, good report. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks to both of you. Committee reports this evening. We didn't have any old business or new business comments from the public. Jeremy?
Motion to adjourn.
And we'll need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.